calculated downfall of Fender. Look, everybody's talking about the cease and desist letters, and here's the full picture, and it's much worse than you think. From price fixing, quality collapse, legal threats against small builders, upper management sleeping around with new hires, just a few symptoms of rot when it comes to one of the most famous guitar companies in the world. From illegally suppressing guitar prices and getting fined millions of dollars for it, to sending cease and desist letters for a design that everybody thought was in public domain, all the way to laying off 300 factory workers just a few months after announcing record high growth and then blaming economy. I think it's safe to say that Fender's quickly becoming the most hated guitar company in the world. But the worst part, look, their revenue is down, margins are collapsing, and they're in deep, deep trouble. And I spent a few weeks going through their finances, their legal strategy, everything that's happening behind the scenes, everybody talking about their manufacturing practices. Look, I think this might be the most important video a guitar player could watch right now. This is the slow death of Fender. So in the first chapter, we're going through the signs that were there all along. This is a report, and doing a good investigation, we always include proof points, right? So you can look all of this up. There's data available. There are links. You can check this out for yourself. This is a report from S&P Global that basically raised the rating of Fender when it comes to their finances, right? This is a company that tries to assess whether another company's profitable or not. And basically what they're saying, I went through all the financials, and it says that revenue declined by 3%. All right, that's not much, But Fender's earnings before tax declined by 17%. So this is really profits, right? 17% decline. And they're blaming weaker consumer spending, habits, and higher cost of goods sold, tariffs, all that kind of stuff. On paper, that makes sense. So Fender's, up and down just like any company. But it goes way deeper than this. Fender's actually in deep, deep trouble when you look into the numbers. Like if you look at the report, it's pretty long. But what the numbers are really saying is that sales fell by 3%. Okay, that's not much, but profits fell by 17%, and they were barely covering interest. So Fender's already in deep trouble as of today. Their leverage jumped by a lot, from 6x to 7x. That means the debt is rising. The debt to earnings ratio is going up. And when the debt is high and earnings go down, when that ratio is skewed like this, it's not a good sign for any company because they might prioritize short-term profits just to cover that debt, right? Not good. This is exactly what we're seeing with Fender. Fender was also cash flow negative in 2025. They burned about $2 million in just 2025 alone. And they also spent about $18 million, and inventory was building up, but they were not able to sell it fast enough. And we're going to dive deep into why they were not able to sell it. So S&P moved their outlook to stable from negative because they were expecting some recovery in 2026. I don't think that's going to happen, and I think you will agree with me in just a minute, because the S&P was thinking that Fender can go back to slightly positive cash flow and trim leverage just a little bit. This is not like immediate death spiral for Fender. It's more like a company being just one bad year away from real trouble, and I believe this year is now. Because what the people in suits, all the lawyers and all the experts are saying is like, look, environment was hard, tariffs, this and that, and consumers are not buying Fender, as much as they used to, blah, blah, blah. This is just BS. What is really happening, if you read between the lines, if you look at the report, if you analyze the entire thing, it's like 20 pages plus. You see trends, revenue down, volume down, consumer trust down, margins collapsing harder than sales. This is a red flag. Inventory building up for Fender. Dealers ordering cautiously. I wonder why. We're going to dive into that as well. Management slashing spending. What this really means for Fender is that the product is no longer compelling enough for the market to maintain, the excitement. So if the issue was just tariffs that Fender is not making enough money, then you would expect margins get pressured a little bit, but demand staying healthy. But instead, what we're seeing is volume falling down, dealers becoming cautious, inventory piling up, and us consumers, shifting towards used gear, different companies, different brands altogether, or not buying at all. Why Fender feels desperate when you even just look at the financials, cease and desist aside, when you just look at the financials of Fender, The report actually quietly signals that the management of Fender is in defense mode, full defense mode, 100%, because they're cutting spending. They're cutting spending on marketing. They're delaying growth investment. They're minimizing expenditures. They're trying to protect liquidity. They're trying to reduce all like incentive compensation. So this is not a company that's building for a bright future. This is not a company investing in the future, not even in the present. In fact, it's a company trying to squeeze as much as it can out of its already dead corpse. This is a company that's bleeding hard, that's trying to stabilize the balance sheet because it knows it's dying. Slow spiral of death. Chapter 2, Fender quality control. This is directly tied to their financials. This is directly tied to the cease and desist letters. All of this is a very deep rabbit hole that I want to take you into because Fender financials is just one step of the whole picture. Quality control of Fender has been pretty terrible over the last few years. Agree or disagree? I think most of us, we can agree that we're seeing more and more reports on Reddit, on forums, quality control being an issue. There's hundreds of reports, people saying $2,000 guitars are having worse fretwork than, a Squire Bullet from 20 years ago. And you can just look it up yourself. If you type Fender QC, you're going to see hundreds of pictures of guitars that look terrible. This is a brand new guitar, by the way. And you know what this is? This is a Fender Ultra. This is a like $2,500 guitar. Like, what's going on here? And there are many. This is not like this was just one thing and you send it back and that's it. Okay. How does this pass the quality control, man? It doesn't. It only does pass quality control in a company that's trying to push as much product as possible because it's desperate for profits. It's prioritizing short-term profit over actual consumer satisfaction. This is what's happening with Fender. Look at this. This is just this is not even fun. Look at this. It's not even funny. This is a Fender guitar, and these are just photos I found on Reddit, on forums. Look at the string alignment. What is this? And the funny thing is, these are not some like low tier cheap guitars. These are not, guitars you would expect this. These are $2,000, $3,000 guitars, $1,500 guitar. This is unacceptable. And the thing is, Reddit is flooded with NGD, New Guitar Day posts with these kind of horror stories. Forums, sharp frets, poorly cut nuts, finish flaws, ground wiring issues. On guitars that cost thousands of dollars. Why is this happening? And is this a recent problem? So let's investigate. Let's check Google search trends. Look at this. Fender QC. If you search for Google search trends, Fender quality control, Fender QC. You see a little bit here, and then a huge spike of interest this year. What's that? And then Fender issues, like Fender guitar, issues with Fenders. This is just wild. You can tell that something's going on. And this is before the whole cease and desist fiasco happened. You know what I mean? Like, this is before that. So there's clearly a bad trend going on with Fender quality control. Really bad one. And it paints a clear picture. Fender guitars have more QC issues than ever before. And here's why. The real reason why Fender has terrible quality control right now is because of leverage, is because of the financials. Everything is tied to the cease and desist stuff. So highly leveraged companies, right? Companies that have lots of debt in comparison to their actual income, they make bad decisions, bad long-term decisions because they make short-term a priority, under pressure, because they need money. They need money yesterday to cover the debt because they're just leveraged through the roof. So that means, cheaper manufacturing and cutting corners and weaker QC and cost cutting when it comes to just firing and laying off people and over reliance on reissues. Fender's been really notorious about this over the last decade or so. It's just reissue after reissue after, hey guys, you love the 60s Strat, right? Here's another one. And uninspired products, don't even get me started on this. Fender Vintera 3 has been the most uninspired release I've ever seen in my entire life. And marketing gimmicks, we're going to dive into this because Fender's really guilty when it comes to marketing grifts, just straight up unethical marketing. So all of this worsens the brand perception problem, which has hit an all-time low right now. And it's only getting worse for Fender. So their financial weakness only exposed a bigger issue that the management is trying to explain, oh, this is just tariffs and macroeconomic pressure. No, man, they've been building terrible guitars for a long time before the tariffs became a thing. I mean, that's a bad thing for them as well, but it's not really the source of the problem. The source of the problem is they're being a really greedy company right now. And let's rewind a little bit. Let's actually investigate a little bit more here. February 2026, Fender appoints a new CEO. Interesting. Like, this is kind of like this timeline here, 2026, right? QC issues. Very interesting. Okay. New CEO. Big news. So this is from Instagram. Big news. We're excited to welcome Edward Bud Cole. I mean, look, this guy looks okay. It's just a normal dude holding a Telecaster. You know what I mean? A little rock star thing here. Like, just this normal guy. You know what I mean? Nothing against this guy. Could be a great CEO for all I care. And he worked at Fender, so, could be a nice guy. Nothing against him. But let's investigate a little bit, shall we? Let's look into his LinkedIn profile, because it's all public information. Edward Bud Cole, Chief Executive Officer at Fender Musical Instruments Corporation. Okay, cool. Let's look at his experience. So Fender, he's a CEO, used to work at Fender. Let's see where he worked before, what he did. President at Ralph Lauren. Okay, it's not like instruments really. World's #1 American lifestyle and luxury fashion brand. Okay. QVC, Jesus Christ. World's #1 television shopping brand. The channel that they shill everything and make it seem like it's the greatest thing since sliced bread? Yeah, that's the one. Managing director for, what's that? World's #1 luxury travel retail company owned by Louis Vuitton. Okay, Jesus Christ. And then global account director at world's #1 French luxury wine and spirits brand. So this is your CEO. Where's actual music industry experience aside from this Asia Fender thing? You know what I mean? Look, honestly, just tell me. I'm not being too judgmental here, I hope. Just you tell me. You look at his portfolio, at his CV, you look at his resume of French luxury wine, luxury travel company, shilling brand of selling useless stuff, and Ralph Lauren, like luxury company. Does this scream to you, hey, we're going to focus on giving Fender players the best user experience, we're going to focus on building the best possible Stratocaster in the world? Or does it scream to you like they're going to turn Fender into a premium luxury Grift brand? Just honestly answer to me. I mean, let's move on. Chapter 3, Fender and their skeletons in the closet. So Fender's got a bunch of skeletons in their closet, and it's not getting talked about enough because just a few years ago they got sued and they had to pay a huge fine for illegal price fixing. All the lawyers speak aside. Think about this. They literally committed crime and had to pay money, tons of it, because they broke the law. So between 2013 and 2018, Fender systematically pressured and threatened independent guitar shops to prevent them from discounting Fender guitars online. So let's say that you run a shop, right? That you own a guitar store and that you have a bunch of Fenders laying around. Nobody wants them because, they're not as attractive as they used to be. Whatever is the reason. Like, they're not going out as fast as they should be. And you want to get rid of them. You want to, make space for new wares. And you want to discount them for your customers online. And then Fender threatens you with a bunch of things like, they would threaten to delay your shipments. They would threaten to cut your credit lines. They would threaten to pull stock entirely if you wanted to just put even a slightest discount on your Stratocaster. I mean, this is some straight mob, tactic. This is not free market, man. This is just cartel, kind of strategy. This is not good. And the big one is that the investigation, CMA, uncovered emails and texts from Fender's IT services and mobile phones where Fender executives intentionally tried to cover their tracks because they knew they were breaking the law by bullying these small companies, forcing them to sell at a high price. And the problem is, some of these guitars were available at a lesser price on Fender.com. Does that make sense? Let's say that you run a guitar store, mom and pop's guitar store. You love guitars. I love guitars, right? You're selling guitars for a living. You have a bunch of Fender wares. They're not selling. You want to put a discount. And then you get an email from some executive saying like, oh, well, we're going to delay your shipments and make your life miserable for you just because you put the price down a little bit. And by the way, our consumers can buy the same Strat on our Fender.com, also in exclusive colors. Yeah, I mean, what kind of sense does this make? Does this sound to you like a company that cares about their players and consumers or profits? Again, like, I want you to make your own judgment. I'm just presenting facts. Like, these are facts. These are actual things you can look up. The CMA investigation. This is all public information. So let's talk about Fender and their unethical marketing strategies, because some of these are facts, some of these are my opinions, but there is definitely a thing that I'm not a fan of at all, and this is the Fender Standard bait and switch. So once upon a time, there was a guitar called the Fender American Standard Stratocaster. It really used to be the golden standard of guitars. Like, this was the American Pro 2 or whatever, the Pro Max Ultra stupid nomenclature they have today. This was the guitar, and it's an amazing guitar, and you can still buy it for about $1,000 on Reverb. They're actually really good. Fender American Standard. The standard became this real standard, golden standard for the industry. It's a high quality made in American instrument. Now, recently, Fender released a new Fender Standard Stratocaster. Right? Let's look into it. Fender Standard series on the website. I'm on the website right now, and it says authentic Fender performance, quality and style, standard series. Okay, interesting. Authentic. Cool. Must play authentic, you know what I mean? They must be modeling some other company that wants to play authentic. Let's see here. Standard Stratocaster. Wow, it's a real oh my god, it's a great deal. 579 euros for a standard. Wow, I must get one. So I'm basically getting a standard, but it's cheaper, right? So I'm winning as a consumer. Great. I'm just gonna get one now. See, the problem with this is that this is not a standard but for less. This is a cheap Indonesian made guitar that has absolutely nothing to do with the actual standard, what consumers think a standard is. So it's a marketing grift. That's all there is to it. Like, it's, and that's funny because the tone of this cheap, standard, it's a Squire but with a Fender on its headstock. That's all there is to it. And you pay a few €100 for the Fender on the headstock extra. And tone of this guitar is actually really, really bad. If you check any reputable, video review, you'll see, like, in this video, Undertones, like, Danish Pete is literally saying, like, man, this guitar does not, it's not good. It's just not good. Because it's a cheap guitar with the sole objective of it being maximize profits. So thankfully, people are seeing through the marketing grift of Fender, and on the comments section, everybody's saying like, oh my god, it should have Fender by Squire on the headstock, or basically Squires with the Fender name instead. I mean, that's exactly what it is. I'm absolutely going to put a Fender decal on every one of my Squires now, right? I mean, people are seeing through their BS, but what about people who can't see through it? What about older consumers or younger, not as educated as you and I, who are just getting into the world of Fender electric guitar and whatever, and they see the standard and they think like, oh my god, 20 years ago Fender Standard was a real thing and it was like $2,000 or whatever, $1,500, $1,000, whatever it was. I'm just going to get one now because it's $579. It's a great deal. It's a standard, isn't it? No, man, it's just a lie. It's a marketing grift. It's an actual, I believe, in my opinion, unethical marketing strategy. Essentially, it's a $600 guitar with the same specs as a Squire Affinity, that costs $200. So is that inflation, tariffs, and economical headwinds, or is it greed? You tell me. But the next chapter, unethical labor practices and the churn and burn. This is wild. So buckle up, because we went through some employee reviews and some things that are not available publicly, and spoke to some people. And the findings are terrifying for Fender. I mean, it looks crazy. So the workforce is essentially completely disposable. And I know, capitalism, you just say like, okay, But let's really look into it when it comes to Fender specifically. Let's hold the company accountable. So the the virus layoff. So in 2022, the Fender CEO went on Forbes on a big interview. You can look this up, Forbes.com, shredding about a massive record growth, 30%, during the virus thing, right? So here it says, there's a CEO back then. In January 2022, the virus is raging outside, but in Fender's 200,000 square foot Corona, California, mask-clad employees are churning out new instruments at breakneck pace. All right, sounds good. We grew at roughly mid 30% per annum during the pandemic, says CEO Andy Mooney, who joined privately held Fender in 2015. So this was their record growth. And then a few months later, literally less than 5 months later, Fender just suddenly laid off 300 employees. So they're having their record growth, the highest revenue ever, and suddenly they're laying off hundreds of employees. That doesn't make any sense, including senior positions. So in the article, it says the Fenders made 300 employees redundant, over 300, including people from production line and senior management position, plant manager, assistant manager, number of quality control team. I wonder why. Here it says that employees did not get some stuff fluffy email or severance package, for the most part receiving just a few days of extra pay. Sad. So let me get this straight. So Fender continuously raises prices, because we haven't talked about this, but they just literally continuously raise prices. And then they stop paying their employees. They make record high profits. Suddenly they reach record low product quality. And then the next step is to sue every other S-type guitar maker so that they can win in monopoly. Like, this is Fender guitars, in my opinion, right now, Buy, sell, dream, and scheme. Bankrupt your opponents to win it all. This is literally the Fender CEO right now, laughing all the way to the bank. But not really, because they're losing money, so there's that. Because of their stupid decisions. So further mass layoffs actually continue right now. Some of this is public information, some of this isn't. This is on LinkedIn. So last month, there was another round of silent layoffs, RIF, reductions in force at Fender. As opposed to everyone at Fender caught in today's RIF, the people let go and the ones left behind with half the resources and twice the pressure. You deserve better than this. It's a gut punch. Some of the most talented people I've ever worked alongside are in that group, and it's genuinely difficult to watch. So this wasn't just like one-time layoff. These continue. And this is just one of the things that's happening with Fender right now behind the scenes. They also have this minimum wage strategy. There are many former factory and custom shop workers posting on Reddit, on forums, that Fender is famous for paying, $15 an hour or whatever the minimum wage is for just really grueling floor work. And ex-employees are saying that the minimum wage that they're paying is not enough to live anywhere near the factory. You can make more for a place like Costco or In-N-Out. And Fender is just coming through another round of mass layoffs, and this was just recently, 3 months ago. Man, this is not looking good for Fender. There are dozens of reports like this. I don't want to go through all of this, but this is another employee. This is really interesting. It says Fender has a high turnover rate, both from mass layoffs during slower sale years and because people realize the pay is terrible and move elsewhere. I worked in the custom shop for 2 years, blah, 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 blah. During my 2 years there, I saw multiple mass layoffs from the main production floor. Some of my friends in the custom shop were recently laid off last month. Fender would rather fire the floor workers they deem dispensable and then rehire people off the street with no experience when they have a season that demands more production. Do you hear what he's saying? So they have up years and down years, obviously like every other company, but in the down year they would fire people, and in the up year they would just hire randos from the street with zero experience. That would kind of explain why the guitars are terrible, wouldn't it? And just yet another, pretty bad upper management decision by Fender. This directly correlates with tanking quality control that we're experiencing. And things get even worse when you look up Glassdoor or Indeed, whatever it is right now. You need an account for this. with a phone number and everything. But we're doing our due diligence here. So you can check out Glassdoor there are employee reviews essentially on this page for Fender Musical Instruments from all around the world, And it doesn't have a very high rating at all, really. If you look at work-life balance, it's fine, 4 out of 5. Senior management, 3 out of 5, 3.1. Ugh. Compensation, 3.1. Ugh, it looks like a company that doesn't want to pay their, employees. Like, this is really sad. These are just of the few, and really, man, buckle up, because these are so bad. I have never seen something like this. These are reviews of employees that used to work at Fender. If you value your mental health, don't apply. Former employee, more than 5 years. Says, very questionable ethics, limited work-life balance, always this feeling of being switched on 24/7, and very little in the way of salary benchmarking relative to the amount of work piled on. Forget a pay raise. Damn, that's not good. All right, let's look another one. Fender. It's a cool job to brag about, but this one's wild, man. It says most management was sleeping around with each other or new hires. What? Outside management hires were ill-equipped and knew nothing about the industry. Constant backstabbing from employees to keep you looking worse than them. Principal master builder for custom shop was secretly pushed out for misconduct. What? I mean, Saturdays are mandatory. I mean, there is a cool kids club that if you make it to it, you're golden. Otherwise, good luck. I mean, this just okay. It's not looking good for Fender, man. I kind of wanted to apply years ago. You know what I mean? Like, it used to be my dream job working at Fender or something like that. But then look, former employee at Fender, most toxic place I've ever, and these are verified by the way. You can check this out on Glassdoor. These are actual employees. They need to have a official email to even post one of these. I mean, this is. Anyway. Employees were treated like tools. They do not care about your well-being or even bother trying to. High school level drama. 60-hour work weeks are norm. All employees go through burnout and panic attacks on daily basis. So if you think my Stratocaster is made with love by people who love guitars. Look, maybe they love guitars, but they are being exploited by certain people in the upper management that has no clue how to actually run this. Just treat their employees in a very, very bad way, allegedly. I mean, this is what it says here. Poor management. Let's look at this. Product manager, more than 5 years at Fender. Okay. C-suite in digital seems to make unethical decisions in the daily. Well, we talked about this already. We're going to talk about this some more soon, but we can tell. Working here was like high school where gossip ran amok and managers showed clear favoritism. Jesus, it's not looking good for Fender, is it? Steer clear, 1 star, former employee, Coalmine, California. Spanish-speaking only personnel are hired purposely to exploit and pay them minimum wage without it being contested. I mean, Fender guitars, brother, what are you doing? I mean, okay, let's see if there's a good one. Leadership grinds your bones to dust and make guitars out of it. Avoid working here at all cost. Zero accountability for team members. I mean, no room for upward growth. 77-year-old company should not be run like a startup. Let me tell you, I know a thing or two about startups, and this is all the toxic patterns I see here. And it's crazy because it's a huge multi-million-dollar company. I mean, it's wild. Another 1 star. Do yourself a favor and run. Fender employee, more than 5 years, current employee. The so-called leadership team is a mockery, greedy and pompous and completely detached from reality, exerting crippling pressure over their impoverished minions. They talk about the soul of Fender. There is no soul. You killed it for us with your greed. Wow. Pros? None. You'll be tempted to apply based on your childhood dreams and your impression of the brand. Do not do it. What you think to be true of Fender as a brand and what it actually is are two polar opposites. Don't fall for it unless you want to be overpaid, overworked, and managed by, this is just, I mean, okay, Fender guitars. Toxic hustle culture. More than 3 years employee at Fender. There is zero work-life balance at Fender. It's the classic hustle vibe. No one respects anyone's time. The execs share videos of kids opening gifted instruments or rock stars playing Strats to manipulate you into breaking your back for this company. Two colleagues who recently had children were praised for working late hours instead of being with their newborns. Okay, Jesus. It's like Game of Thrones with guitars. This is a former employee at Fender. Game of Thrones with guitars. All right, great place to be working at. I mean, this runs deep, man. This runs really deep. Raises are minimal. Check this out. This is great if you're desperate, this former employee says. Sweatshop environment. Um, Raises are minimal, like they give you 10 cents just to say they gave you one. Who does that? What? They hire family members. It's normal for supervisor to have multiple family members under their department. So nepotism is a thing. Okay, great to know. Yay, Fender guitars. Go Fender. Okay, another one's outrageous turnover, actual environment, inflated reporting at all hands. All right. Every shiny object and short-term gain is chased by a leadership. We can tell. Success is inflated. Yeah. Failure is swept under the rug. Oh, and teams are left wondering why they lose a vital limb every month. The culture is presented as collaborative rock and roll, but this environment is more political than the New York agency. The co-workers utilize corridors and short private walks to discuss triangulation strategies to undermine managers or redirect. What is this? I mean, this is just really bad for Fender. And I checked like old ones because there's a date at these. Like, is this a new problem? No, man. Apparently it's been going on for a long time. Reviews from 2015 like this, you know what I mean? The investment company has quickly changed the culture. They smile to your face, but secretly plan to get rid of you. Everybody walks around wondering when they are going to get sold, fired, or laid off. From 2015. So this is Fender guitars for you, gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Fender guitars. And this is just the beginning because they're also bullying small independent retailers. They're not just preventing them from lowering the price. They are also making it really difficult for small retailers to buy anything from Fender. If you're a small retailer, mom and pop store, you're selling guitars, you can't just buy a few Strats. You gotta make a huge order, and then Fender forces people, allegedly, to buy massive packages of inventory, like useless stuff, merch, clothing, just less popular models. So if you want to deal with Fender, if you want to sell Fender at all, this is probably the reason why I don't see any of my local guitar stores, like small ones, selling Fender. They can't afford to do it because Fender is forcing people to have really aggressive buy-in tiers. And the outcome is, small shops, if they want to carry Fenders, because hey, who doesn't? I mean, it's literally one of the biggest guitar companies in the world. So small shops are forced to take huge debt to carry the brand, just to have that name, to attract people so that people can even see anything, other things. And if they can't afford the minimums, Fender pulls the contract and moves the supply to giants, Sweetwater, etc. I mean, you have to see this. Fender is lying to you. Some of this stuff is wild, man. This is crazy. This is on Reddit. Fender is lying to you. Bit of a rant, but I work at a Midwestern music store. Been a Fender dealer for years. I want to rant about Fender business practices, and this is kind of crazy because over the last several years, he says that they've been greatly increasing the annual order commitments. That's fine, no big deal. But last year it got out of control. All right, I wonder how. We couldn't sustain their quarterly unit requirements. We were told that it's our fault for not moving enough inventory. I mean, fair enough, normal business conversation you're having with a client. But that's a difficult task when our customers shop a Strat and they see that they can get 10% directly on Fender's site. Then we start noticing web exclusives. Guitars only available at Fender.com entirely. Or at Amazon. Cool colors, cheap prices, completely unattainable for mom and pops, right? There's been insane quality control issues. And this is really looking wild, man. But the craziest thing is like also when we have an amp, like Fender also sells amps, obviously, amp that becomes defective, which almost half of the Rumble series we received this year was defective. Fender doesn't take the defective amp back. They don't offer a credit for repair. They don't let the retailer keep them or strip for parts. Fender makes retailers destroy the amp entirely. And only when they send proof and send the serial number and photos that it cannot be salvaged in any way, photos and videos, only then they would send the replacement. Man, this is the most paranoid company thing I've ever heard of. I mean, this is just absolutely crazy, man. Yeah, I'm never buying Fender product ever again. I mean, we've also seen product available on their website for below our dealer cost. So Fender is literally screwing the dealers over by selling something even cheaper than they are to their dealers. I brought this up before, but they did only offer some credits. I mean, it's unbelievable. And whenever he brings it up, Fender says, we can do whatever we want. I mean, of course you can. You just have to deal with consequences, like your company dying. So as you can see, this is not a situation where a noble guitar company is being attacked by some Chinese manufacturer that tries to copy the Strat, thing, and Fender needs to defend its good name and a good brand. No, bro, this is not it. This is a situation where you have a company that's drowning in debt, that's drowning, like shrinking revenue, terrible leadership, and that company decides to fire their workforce and treat them worse than cattle. Company that decides to maximize profits in every possible unethical way, including literally illegal business practices, aka crime. They screw over the dealers and they push inferior product as fast as possible, for going quality control. So that's how a legend dies. We are witnessing the slow death of Fender guitars. And I really believe that it's only a matter of time before the younger generation gives up on Fender. And after that, there's no going back, because I believe that guitars are symbols and the Stratocaster used to represent something, like a bright future, like it's futuristic design, you know what I mean? It's like, it's about the future. It's about looking ahead, like it's faith, freedom. It's something so cool and also like rebellious a little bit, you know what I mean? It's resistance against the status quo. Like it's a cool thing. But here's the thing with Jimi Hendrix is not cool because he's playing a Stratocaster. A Stratocaster is cool because Jimi Hendrix is playing it. So let's not, let's not get it twisted there, Fender. It's only a matter of time before Fender Strat becomes a symbol associated with corporate greed. It's already becoming that. And then nobody's going to want to touch it ever again, It's Fender is a brand that lives and dies by its heritage, reputation, and brand. And it's literally setting its reputation on fire with greed and incompetence. It's unbelievable. And don't even get me started on the Fender marketing grifts, like the fake nitrocellulose lacquer. Not fake, but, nitrocellulose lacquer on Fender American Vintage 2. Fender American Vintage 2, amazing guitar. Apparently, I really like it, honestly. I like the guitar. The guitar is actually good, all right, if you get one with good QC. But here's the thing, I wanted to get one, I really wanted to get one when it came out. And on the products page on Fender.com for the Fender American Vintage 2, the product page, it says gloss nitrocellulose lacquer finish. They haven't changed this. This is still live as of, release of this video. Gloss nitro lacquer finish. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna get a guitar that ages just like a custom shop, right? Because a custom shop is also nitro. Wow, and it's only $2,000, only is still, But that's not really true. There's a gigantic, thick polyurethane undercoat right under that nitro finish. So there's a thick layer of plastic and a little bit of lacquer. And they're not disclosing it, by the way, That kind of makes it, misleading, in my opinion. It makes it my marketing grift. The whole point of nitro finish, so the guitar can age with you, it rubs just like a custom shop, like a relic, like an actual, 60s Strat. I thought like you can get this American Vintage 2 guitar off the rack and it's going to age just like a custom shop because, hey, Fender says so, right? Gloss nitro, lacquer finish. Cool. No, man. American Vintage 2 will never, ever age like a fully nitro finish guitar because of that thick plastic undercoat. In fact, these kind of finishes age really badly. There's no like actual way to touch the wood once it ages. It just strips the nitro layer, and then you're left with this plastic, thick plastic look. Look at this, so ugly. This is the Fender nitrocellulose finish knot with the poly undercoat, you know? Like a thick plastic layer, and then the nitro. I mean, there's no bare wood, it's just plastic, you know what I mean? It's just unbelievable. Like, this is how it looks like, you know? So, to me, Fender marketing this guitar, this $2,000+ guitar, as a nitrocellulose finish is extremely unethical. Keep in mind that this information, that this is not true nitro, only came out because buyers were experimenting with their guitars. These are photos from forums. You guys like you and I, you know what I mean? We would buy a guitar and then just kind of try seeing how it ages, and people would discover that Fender tricked them. Unbelievable, you know? In my opinion, Fender's cheating their customers. They haven't changed this. On their website, it says nitrocellulose finish. But selling that it is nitrocellulose is like saying like, you know, you're buying a leather jacket and it's actually made of plastic with the light spray of whatever liquid leather, you know, on top. Like, what's that? Or you want to buy some real fruit juice. It says real fruit juice and it's 99% high fructose corn syrup and there's just a few drops of actual juice. Like, Fender's just, I think it's, you know, they're lying. Not about one thing, but about many, many, many things. And it's sad. It's sad to see, because the company that Leo Fender wanted to build is gone, is dead. What is left is a corpse of this company that they're just trying to do necromancy on, and you know, they're just trying to squeeze it for everything it's worth, and it's being killed by corporate greed and private equity. And honestly, here's the thing. I used to be a big fan of Fender guitars. I just made in my mind not to support them moving forward. Does that mean I will never buy a Fender brand new? Probably. Does that mean I will never buy a used Fender? I don't know. Because the Fender from the 80s, 70s, maybe is not as guilty as the Fender of today. But moving forward, I do not believe I will be putting money into this brand. I will be putting money into another brand. I'm not a Fender hater. In fact, the reason why we're going this deep as a community into this is because we love the Strat, because we care about the Strat. I mean, Strat is great. I mean, tellies are great. You know what I mean? We don't want the legacy of Leo to crash and burn into late stage capitalistic greed fest. But the direction that Fender is taking it right now, that's what they want to do. Fair enough. We just shop elsewhere. So let me know what you think about this whole Fender situation. Are you ever going to buy a Fender guitar again? Or are you done with the company? And if you're getting something else, let me know. What I love guitars. We'll love talking about guitars. Let me know. Thank you. My name is Michael Kolb. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you. Bye-bye.